Hey everybody, how you doing? Tom Barnes here, stories from the 78. Listen to this. Man, oh man, was it fantastic. Ah, I it's something that I'm pretty sure my 16-year-old self would never believe happened. That I was at the Lyric Opera of Chicago. Beautiful venue. I mean, it is what probably the most underrated music venue in the city, just because it's not as mainstream as other halls or music venues in the city, but it is stunningly beautiful. And on Friday, I got to see the world premiere of A Night of Mellon Collie and Infinite Sadness, the 30th anniversary celebration of that beautiful album by the Smashing Pumpkins. And if you're a certain age, that album came out in your coming of age years. It came out when I was my sophomore in high school, learning how to drive. I got my driver's license like in January '96. That album was everywhere. I mean, I played that on my CD player. It was one of everybody had CDs back in the day, and you had your book, and you had to open up your book, pop that in. It was a double album, so you didn't have to change it. It was just fantastic. And 1979 was a song that changed my life in terms of like things on the radio, then hearing something else going like, wow, what's this? Then you see the lyrics, the artwork in the album, talking about freaks and ghouls and, the world is a vampire and a rat in a cage and all of these things. And then you find out that the song was written in Chicago, man. The band from Chicago at the rise of like alternative rock yet again in the mid 90s, coming off like the push of grunge, but really alternative rock. And Chicago certainly had a place in that with like bands like Material Issue and Liz Phair and Veruca Salt coming out, and then the Smashing Pumpkins. I mean, they just kicked everybody's ass. Hence why they had this beautiful 30th anniversary celebration at the Lyric, and it was incredible. It was something like I've never seen before. I didn't really know what to expect when heading to the Lyric for a show like this. The music videos from that album are fantastic. They're very theatrical. The costumes are beautiful and they're poetic. And that's also the album where Billy Corgan shaved his head and became the Billy Corgan that we all kind of know and love today. But that was certainly on their rise to becoming superstars. They had the album before that, Siamese Dream, and then this album just catapulted them all over MTV, all over Q101 here in Chicago back in the day, Rock 103.5. I mean, they were everywhere, coast to coast, from one ocean to another. It was fantastic. And I thought it'd be interesting to hear a little bit about what Billy had to say about the Pumpkins recording here in Chicago and how far away they recorded this album and how they are at the Lyric. Take a listen.
Mellon Collie and the Infinite Sadness was written in Chicago, in many ways for Chicago. One of the most famous songs is talking about the lake. I mean, we're just away from the lake. We recorded most of the record about a mile away from where we sit right now. So to bring this work to this esteemed opera house, it's got such a local tie to it. It feels so deep to me. And the fact that something that the four kooks of us created kind of in a garage, basically, to bring it to the opera house, it's got an upscale to it, right?
I mean, that's just a small piece of like the experience there. And I got to tell you, you're watching a little video from my phone, sitting in the aisle there, just taking it all in. It was spectacular. The choir that they have at the Lyric is unbelievable. It takes the sound of a song. They like hit a note, right? And they're hitting that note and they're like just perfectly like perfect. And all of a sudden it just gets louder and louder and louder. And your eyes start to well up because you feel the energy, you feel the emotion coming from that choir. And then they have four of like world-renowned opera stars that are dipping in and out of the show along with Billy Corgan. It is absolutely amazing. And if you're going there to see a Smashing Pumpkins concert, that's not quite what this is. This is like the album reinterpreted a little bit, expanded, take what the album was and still is and throw like this alternative viewing and listening experience. And I hate to use the word immersive because it's so lame that everybody says everything's immersive these days. But this truly is something that you need to see in person. Watching it on this video is not going to do it justice. You need to go and check it out. I mean, if you've never done opera before, it makes you really appreciate the voice instrument that these people have. Zoe Reams, Dominic Valdez, and I cannot pronounce his last name, Chinez, Edward Parks, of course, Billy Corgan out on stage there. You see the formality of opera in all the beautiful ways, and there's this orchestra on stage, and it's just outstanding. It's just so beautiful. And I believe that Billy's wife, Chloe Mandel Corgan, helped with like the design, the artistic focus of it, because there really is the costumes and all of it's all together. And I gotta say, the whole entire thing, and Billy mentioned this earlier in the video, is like a love letter to Chicago, man. It is stunningly visually beautiful. I mean, everything is about like the Art Deco vibe of Chicago mixed in with the steel of like the Hancock and the Sears Tower and the train going by and the river. I mean, it's just seeing it from the water, and it gives this, almost gothic feeling, but not in the way that you're thinking, because you mix gothic with art deco, and that's kind of the vibe of the event, because it matches the lyric beautifully. And they show all these historic buildings in Chicago, like the Merchandise Mart, and the building down on LaSalle Street, and just all the Art Deco beautiful buildings. And you keep waiting and you keep waiting. Are they going to show the lyric? Are they going to show the lyric? And they do at the very end, and it makes sense why they waited to the end to show it, obviously. But it's this epic conclusion where you're just like breathless. That's the best I could say. And I've seen a lot of shows in my time, and I've seen a lot of bands mix, the symphony, like Metallica and the San Francisco Symphony. Other bands have done that, like U2's done crazy things with other things. Never seen anything quite like this. And this, if you like music, if you like the Pumpkins, even if you don't like the Pumpkins, but you appreciate their music, you got to go to see the blend of opera and rock and roll mixed together. It's just this fabulous event, and there's not a better place to see it than the Lyric Opera. And it's not here for very long, so you got to get out there and you got to take your people to see it. It'd be a hell of a Christmas present. Unfortunately, it's only around from November 21st through the 30th, but I imagine if this is successful, they'll likely extend it, because why wouldn't you? Because it's like a perfect Chicago thing to do. And when I mean like it's an ode to Chicago, when you see it and you're looking a little bit at the video, you just look at it visually. It's stunning. And then and the sound from that place. Let's take a little listen to the sound, just because I think it's just worth just pausing for a second and hearing it.
And never shone, but you sure it couldn't be right if you held yourself up to the light. And the hours never fade, and you stay right.
I mean, isn't that spectacular? I mean, it really is. I would love to put the whole thing up here, but I probably get pinched for like a copyright. But it's fantastic. It's worth seeing, and I couldn't recommend it more to anybody. My wife and I liked it. Everybody in the theater loved it, obviously, because it was opening night. I get it. But if you were a fan at all of that kind of music, or opera for that matter, seeing it in a different way, I highly recommend checking it out at the Lyric Opera of Chicago, now through November 30th. So you don't have much time. It's this week only, to check it out. But it reintroduces you to a part of the city that maybe you haven't been in a while, or introduces you as a first time to the Lyric Opera, and scratches the surface on the Smashing Pumpkins catalog. But if you have a chance to listen to a Mellon Collie and Infinite Sadness before you go to refresh yourself, and then listen to it there, it's incredible. And it makes you really appreciate when bands used to put out great records, because that's a great record, let's be honest. Bands don't do that anymore, not like this. The bands aren't putting out double albums. They're putting out like, oh, we put out 3 songs today. It's day before Thanksgiving, we're gonna do that. There's not many bands that put out albums anymore, so it makes you appreciate when bands did, and they put out a double album. They could have easily made it 2 albums, but clearly it was a big story to tell that was worthy of a double album. So check it out. Check out the original album. Listen on vinyl, man, because it's a whole different vibe. You got all this artwork in there now, and it's just a fantastic experience. I recommend it. So There it is. Go for it. If you like what you hear, please subscribe to the channel. That would mean a lot to me. And tell your friends, tell your aunts, whoever. That'd be fantastic. All right. See you guys later. Take care.